like their leaders, and then they rightfully claim the headspace of leadership. I compare and contrast that with management. Management concerns itself with the effectiveness and efficiencies in climbing the corporate ladder of success. It is very self-centered. It says, if it is to be, then it is up to you. Leadership is about being genuinely obsessed with the development of others. You have reached a space where personal glory does not matter anymore. You want to catch your people doing the right thing, palette highlight and celebrate them, because that's the lens that you wear. When management puts the ladder against the wall, leadership begs the question as to whether is that the correct wall that the ladder is leaning against. So it's a higher form. Like the second book written by Professor Stephen R. Covey, come and finish it with me. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People after principle-centered leadership. He espouses a notion of dependence and independence. And the last one is interdependence. And he says the 3 are sequential. You cannot really genuinely appreciate interdependence unless you're independent with somebody. Then it pains you, and at some stage you say, you know what, one day when I have my 5 cents, I would like to be independent. And you do reach that realm of being independent. And then you realize that life is about accomplishing much, much more. And you do that when you join hands. My grandmother used to say, if you want to go fast, thank you. So you then start appreciating that there are certain things that you can only accomplish when you join hands with other human beings. When you synergize. When you do this 1 + 1 equals 3. And the minute you become interdependent, then you have attained that higher form of humanity. You are linking up. You are connecting. You are accomplishing 10 times more than you would on your own. So that, to me, is this thing that we call leadership. The same way that when you do things only for yourself, when you are self-centered and egocentric, when you use other people for your own personal benefit, there's an English word and it's called, you are being selfish. But when you do things for others, because you genuinely care about the personal development and growth of other human beings, they've got an English word and it's called unselfish. And what did you say?
Selflessness.
That's where I was coming. You see, these youngsters are very bright. So it's called unselfish. Now, selflessness is a higher form. Selflessness is when you do things not for yourself. When you do things not for other people, but when you start accepting that you have a purpose and you do things because it's the right thing to do. You do them even if you do not care who takes credit. You do them because it's a moral obligation, it's your duty. Nature is an amazing metaphor for business. It teaches us more than what we learn at Harvard. So nature is very selfless. It has no motive. It has not got to answer what's in it for me. So the sun every day rises up from the east and sets to the west. Whether it's in the free state, whether it's in the farms where it's needed to give sustenance, to facilitate photosynthesis so that fruit can bear in abundance. It also rises in the desert where it's not appreciated. Scorching, probably doing more harm. It rises when there is blue skies and African sunshine, but also when it is overcast and you don't even see it. It rises nonetheless. The same thing with rain. It has no motive, it doesn't have to benefit anything. It rains in the dusty hills of Emondo and Nkandla in KwaZulu-Natal. And it does so in Central, where people do not plant anything. It rains even when it brings up the conference 6 foot under also in the Free State, where it is giving life to maize so that we can continue to be self-sufficient and indeed be bread baskets of the continent. So the minute you start doing things because you've got no motive, there is nothing for you to gain by that action. You know that you have reached that higher order. Then you are worthy looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I am a leader, not just an effective and efficient manager. So if I had time, I would tell you that in my book, leadership probably rests in 3 buckets. There's one bucket that talks about context, because every leader is a product of your own context. So you need to understand the context. In this day, in this period, in this era, in this country, when so many of us dare to hope that joy and peace will prevail, what are the 2, 3 things that are keeping us awake at night? The way I think about it is Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela. He understood this context. So we went to the elections on the 17th of April. He formed his first cabinet of 400 MPs. He could have been a very good taskmaster. He could have told us about how good these people are and how well educated they are. And some of them genuinely have earned the doctorates in good reputable institutions. But he didn't. He understood that his role was to give us this magnificent gift called reconciliation. Today, we talk about this amazing gift of a united, non-racial, inclusive, free constitutional democracy. Now, if I had time, I would talk about every single solitary one of those words, because each of them is gravid with meaning. And it dictates why, as a free South Africans, we cannot do things the same way that the National Party did in 48 years, because of the deliberate, purposeful choices that we made. So that context is important. Then we had Thabo Mbeki, who understood that he needed to be a taskmaster. It was about service delivery, especially to the poorest of the poor. I would say to the majority of our people. Then the second bucket is around direction setting. Leaders' job is to lead. So when you have been conferred this gift, this talent of leading, then it is up to you to lead. So you can't abdicate that responsibility. So when you are a teacher, you are a leader, and your job is to teach. Certainly today, when you look at what's happening under the tutelage of SADU, in the apartheid days, teaching time face-to-face with pupils, we used to call them then, not learners, was 7.2 hours a day every day, 222 days a year. Today, that is whittled down to 3.2 hours. Because teachers tell you that no, we're going to Mzabalala, no, we're going to a SADU meeting, and then we call ourselves free people. And we have misunderstood what it means to be free. So for me,